No black cats, just straight facts.
Triple P certified.
Listen, we can talk about odds all day. It doesn't matter what the odds are. It matters what's gonna happen. Welcome once again. Welcome, Alex. Welcome, Dan. Yeah, bring the energy up. It's the Perfect Play Pursuit. We're going to break down Sean Strickland versus Magomedov. Super early predictions for UFC Fight Night. Guys, but first, let's talk about Jared Cannonier taking on Marvin Vettori. We got a lot to talk about. We had a big betting weekend. We have another big weekend coming up with Josh Emmett taking on Ilia Topuria. We already broke that card down. The card is already broken down. We already gave you all of our picks for that card. The video is right behind this one. Go watch that video and let us know what you think. If you want to hear us go through that card again with a fine-tooth comb, we're going to be doing it right after this podcast. All 14 fights broken down top to bottom for a second time. We don't even have but one. We have one change. Trevor Peek is now taking on a one Chepe Marisal. That fight is now going to take place. Guys, I feel like I'm all over the place, but that's how the card felt last week, right? The card felt a little all over the place last week. We'll get into it. We have a lot to break down. If you're just tuning in for the first time, this is the Perfect Play Pursuit, where we break down the fight, UFC fights, and we try to hit the perfect parlay. These are my two co-hosts, Alex and Dan, the Euro Under King and Lieutenant Dan, and we're in the pursuit of the perfect parlay. We try to pursue the perfect parlay, get every single fight correctly, bet it as a parlay, hit big every single week. We are operating in a time continuum, a space-time continuum, where a time warp, where now we are breaking down cards well in advance. So we are going to be talking about the card that is not this Saturday, but 2 Saturdays from now. Sean Strickland versus Magomedov, UFC Vegas 76. It's going to be taking place from the Apex, 11 fights, 7/1/23, July 1st. We're going to break that card down top to bottom for you, main card and prelims. Now, if you're asking, Luke, what about the card this weekend? Josh Emmett versus Ilia Topuria. Again, I'll say we broke down all top to bottom main card and prelims. Go check that video out. What we're going to do, just to make sure we can hit any adjustments, since we're getting ahead of these cards, to get ahead of the line, get ahead of the sports books, get the best value, and also get the most opportunity for tape study. What we're going to do is reserve a slot on the Patreon to re-break down the card that we already publicly broke down again. So we're going to go through this week's card, Emmett versus Topuria, live from, I believe, what is it? Jacksonville. So we're going to go through it again, top to bottom, just in case there's any changes or we had any changes of heart. We're going to do that again on the Patreon. If you want to get an extra episode of the show, if you want to see our second takes, and also hear us talk about some hot topics, hear us talk uncensored about some politics, about some UFC drama, about all the things, all the good things of the world, all the bad things of the world, join us on the Patreon, support the show. But that's all the housekeeping I have. Alex, what's going on? Let's kind of, I'm drinking kombucha. This is kombucha. I'm sober, guys. I'm going sober. I've put Slade almost all 3 heads of the Hydra. You will not see me spitting in any cups during this show, and that's all I'll say. I'm a positive role model. Kids, stay away from the nicotine. It is bad, bad, bad.
And kids, do not watch this podcast, because you have to be at the legal age of 21 to gamble on MMA fights.
Exactly, but I'm just saying, I've slayed the nicotine dragon. I've slayed the alcohol dragon. I have but one more head of the Hydra to slay. We're almost full monk mode, full Christ consciousness. We are going to destroy the sugar monster. We're going to get back in ketosis. And by next Monday, when you see me, you're going to be looking at a more improved Luke. All throughout the summer, you're going to be tracking me. You're going to be seeing me. You're going to be seeing a more lucid, clear, aware, sports better in me, Lukey CK, bringing you the analysis each week. With that said, last week's card, what do we think, guys? What do we think?
Nobody but Lukey to ask someone a question and then go off on a 3-minute tangent about his new health pursuits, which I feel like happens every single week. But, proud of you. Hope you stay on it this time, because if you rewatch a few of the old episodes, you get on this tangent quite a bit. Last week, didn't come out with any money myself, but the super impressive thing of the night was the reffing, the judging, and Jared Cannonier. What do you guys think?
Well, It's funny that you say that. It's funny that you say that because I didn't come away with any real money myself either, but I didn't lose any, which I feel is kind of the tone of the card, right? Like blue balls was the theme of the night for me. Blue balls. Dan, before I get into what happened with me, I'll hear you. I know I've kind of monopolized the microphone here.
No, it's all good. It's all
Hey.
good. Number one, kombucha does have alcohol in it, so you're not off the wagon yet. Number one. Number two, you said the card was all over the place. That's kind of reflected by my record. I was around the 50 percentile marker there. So as you can see, my illustrious percentage of 68% has gone down 2 points to 66. An evil number. We have to change that. Hopefully for the better. Going on up. This coming weekend for the ABC card, which is always fun, always a historic event, going back to Jacksonville, giving the fans a treat, and hopefully lining our pockets in the meantime. So positive.
Well, 6 plus 6 is 12. 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 triple P boys, 3 Ps in perfect parlay pursuit. And maybe we should take note that you are actually leading the pack now in year 4. So, guys, we have 3 years of doing this show under our belt. This is year 4. Our season goes May to May. Last season, I won. I clenched it in the final event of the season. It was a neck and neck race. We were all going for first place. I clenched it in the final event. We all finished above 60% in year 3. Triple P certified picks went 70%. But in year 4, Dan is leading the way, 66% accurate. He went 7 out of 11 last night, Saturday night. Triple P certified picks went 5 out of 8. And Dan still edges Triple P certified picks. Triple P certified picks in year 4 are 17 out of 26, 65% accurate. Dan is 37 out of 56, 66% accurate. So 1 percentage point higher than the Triple P certified picks, which led the way last year in year 3 at 70%. They are still holding strong at 65%. Dan at 66. Alex and I breaking above 50%, holding, building, growing, slippery weekend, and a couple of my kind of locks and even bounces that I had going positively for me kind of got ripped out of my mouth a little bit. So if you look at my open bet sheet, you'll see that I threw some money on Pat Sabatini by submission. That was mostly a hedge play. So basically I put $100 on Pat Sabatini by KO because I anticipated him getting a ground and pound TKO. He almost fucking had it, guys. He thought he was going to be Ronda Rousey in that first round at the end and try to get that armbar. We had the most squeamish referee in the game, Chris Taioni, and he's saying, fight back, defend yourself. And when you're getting that kind of buying signals from the most squeamish ref in the game, you play Donkey Kong, baby. You don't go Ronda Rousey. So Pat Sabatini, big blunder there, cost me $1,000 plus 900. Pat Sabatini by KO, 100 to win 1,000. Would have really just made my night. Would have cashed out and just enjoyed the rest of the fights. But no, he had to make it difficult for me. Sabatini, he was the shorty at the weigh-ins. He looked really outsized. But then when you saw them the night of the fight, and once Almeida had all that water put back on him, he looked flabby compared to Sabatini. You realize Sabatini, where he is from, who he is, type of guy he is, going to fuck this guy up bad. So I took both prop bets in the live bet sheet. I let everybody know I'm going $100 on Sabatini by KO. I did 31 for 107 on him by submission. But I had him money line in another parlay. So overall, my risk factor was like, all right, I might lose $25 or so if he submits him rather than knocks him out. But I'm very much exposed while still, I don't know, it wasn't the best decision to make. But either way, that was kind of the story of the night for me, right? So I won there on the live betting sheet. I got Torres by knockout, had to throw 130 to win 330 on that. But those 2 wins there, the Sabatini wins, I did this because I had some more confident picks and more confident parlays going, towards the end of the card that I could hedge out and do some creative things with. So if you're in the Patreon, you kind of saw what was going down. I think you probably saw where my head was at. But overall, spent about 400 to win about 425 or something like that. Not really the best night for me, but had a lot of opportunities. Had some 3K parlays still intact, multiple legs into them, and had some opportunities to hedge out on some dogs and to do some creative things. But ultimately, we live to see another day. That's kind of my overall take from it. I'll tell you what got me the most was, or not really the most, but Daniel Argueta, an underdog that I had on pretty much every parlay, goes down to referee incompetence. I mean, to me, it's like, guys get the fight stopped for TKOs all the time when they're a little bit premature, and we don't get a revisionist history. Like, oh, he wasn't actually knocked out and he never tapped. So, we don't do that with TKOs. So I do them with submissions. If you're in a position where submissions are being threatened and you even put your hand up like this to get ready to tap, like, guys, I know I come on here and say some flagrant things. I say some, things that people don't agree with and things that people think are a little harsh. I say pay the fighters less. I take umbrage with a lot of fighters people love, like Dustin Poirier and Robert Whittaker. I hate those guys. Wonder Boy, I hate him. All these people love him. I hate him. It's like, I know I say a lot of fringe opinions, but I think this is something we should all get behind. If you're in the UFC and you are going like this to get ready to tap, the fight should just be over right then and there. Like, there is no getting ready to tap. If they're going to break your kneecap, okay, I'll give that to you. But it's like, what is this like getting ready to tap position? The ref, I don't care, by hook or by crook, your hand starts flapping around like this, fight's fucking over. Don't let it happen. I don't understand. It's not hard. Like, you've done jiu-jitsu. We do jiu-jitsu classes all the time. It's not hard not to tap by accident. Am I crazy? Like,
I mean, your hand shouldn't be there in the first place. You should be fighting the hands. You should be trying to get out of there. You should be trying to get out of there at all costs.
That's why the ref's there. That's why there's an ambulance on site. That's why, like, your corner's there and your friends are there and, like, everybody's there to make sure that he gets off you. There's not going to be a fucking situation in the UFC where he's sitting there choking you while you're still unconscious for multiple minutes after killing you. Like, you will be fine. Don't be a pussy. Just get choked out. I don't understand. What's the big deal? Like, it's not even that bad for you, I thought. I'm not a doctor, but I'm not even a real person, let alone a doctor. Okay, I'm a figment of your imagination. Any other crazy things happen? So fuck
the Carlos Hernandez Dennis Bonder
fuck
fight.
Keith Peterson and fuck the ref of the Dennis Bonder fight, right, Alex? Yeah, I mean that new school fucking noob ref. Like, who is this guy? Coming in here rewriting history again. Like,
I have no clue who he is, but the fact that he took a flagrant kick to the head on the ground and didn't reward any points and then declared it whatever he declared it, like it was a knockout at the end of the day. Like, he knocked the guy unconscious. He's declaring that
you didn't lose by knockout, you just got knocked out and lost by decision.
Yeah, even better. Like, it was absolutely ridiculous, the fact that he sees somebody on the ground get head kicked. Like, the guy walked up to him and kicked him in the head. Maybe he thought he was going to stand up, but regardless.
I agree with him not taking the point there because it didn't do a lot of damage. I mean, it just
regardless. But like, it's the tale of two cities. Like, you have it in the same exact fight. He didn't take a point for that, and then all of a sudden he's Captain Savaho when it comes to a headbutt for a 5-point move. And I loved Hernandez getting right in front of the camera while they were declaring it a technical decision. He was like, that ain't no headbutt, that's 5 points.
Yeah. I love Hernandez now. He handled that well. What do you think, Dan? I mean, you picked Bonder. Did it make you feel any better to know that it wasn't a knockout? I mean, we should say this. In our Discord was a man who's in the Discord every single week, whether you like him or not. He's there every week, and I think he deserves a shout out here. Greg had Carlos Hernandez by knockout in the 3rd round. When he said that, I'm like, is Greg just out here placing every bet? Like, I'm like, is he just placing all the bets so that when one wins, he's like, I have that one. It's like, I'm like, how do you get that specific, that hyper niche on the most hyper niche fight of the night? A fight nobody knows either of the two guys or cares about either of the two guys at all in any way. And you have this hunch. It's kind of like Alex when he sent me the pic of him betting on Caitlin Clark's team to win when they were plus 600 dogs. I'm like, what the fuck information do you have to make you bet this?
I watch a lot of women's basketball.
He did have Dennis Bond or Carlos Hernandez 3rd round knockout. I think it was like a good amount of money he bet too. It was like $25 to win like what, $1,000 or something.
I mean, he was an underdog on the money line, so I'd imagine on a 3rd round knockout for him.
It was 25 to win like $1,000, and he got that pulled. Not only the win
Sorry,
yet,
Greg.
but the 25 taken. So I think that's DraftKings. Is that what he betted on?
It looked like it.
It looked like
It looked like
DraftKings to me. But
looked like their
all I gotta
UX.
say is, fuck that. Fuck that. I wouldn't bet with that book anymore if they wanted to be that petty and take $25 from me. I wouldn't. I'd be sending an email. I'd be sending a strongly worded email.
And they'll just give it back to you. They'll give you the $25 back. They're gonna be like, yeah, it wasn't a knockout, but that was lame.
Here's 50. They'll be like, here's 50. We know you're gonna give me 500 this week. So I mean, yeah, they send me money for no reason, without me having to email them. I just have to wait long enough and not use it, and they'll be like, deposit bonus. Except FanDuel used to have it so that you could do a deposit of like $100, and then you could withdraw the $100 but still have the $100 free bet. Now you can't do it that way anymore. Now they make you play with the 100, which is fine. I'm gonna do that anyway. But it's like, yo, where's the faith? Like, where's the trust? I thought we were friends, dude. Like,
I was on one of these gambling.
Forcing me to gamble? I'm gonna gamble, but I don't want you to force me to gamble.
I was on one of these gambling apps, and they had a deposit bonus of sorts, and I put in the maximum amount of money, obviously, to get the biggest deposit bonus. Pulled out all my money, and then played through with all of the winnings on one hand of blackjack won. And I was like, wait, let me look at the terms and conditions real quick, because it's still not letting me pull out any of the money that was in the deposit bonus. They're like, you have to win it like 4 times over before you get that money in your pocket.
Oh, man.
They're
They're not your friends. They definitely want your money. It is a business. They do not care. They'll take every dime they can get. So don't be thinking they're your friends.
All right.
Exactly.
So here's what I have to say. My stars of the night, Nicholas Dalby. Even though I picked Muslim Salikov as the fight drew nearer, I started to put the pieces together in my mind. And if you follow my live betting sheet in the Patreon, which is why you should have access to that in the Patreon, you'll see that I had him in more parlays than I had Salikov. So that should have guided you towards understanding that post weigh. And I was thinking Dalby. Nicholas Mata versus Manuel Torres. That's a fight where, wow, sometimes you got to just believe your eyes, man. You know, they say don't trust your lying eyes, but you're watching Manuel Torres warm up in the back, and then you're watching Nicholas Mata warm up in the back. You go, that one's going to knock out that one, 100%. And then, you hear from the commentary, they go, Manuel Torres says he wants to be the type of fighter who knocks people out. All right. Sometimes you say, God, give me a sign, and he says, I did. Remember when I said that he's the type of fighter who knocks people out through Brendan Fitzgerald? That was me. So I bet him by knockout, and that kind of saved my night in a lot of ways. But he's now on my radar, very much so. He was not a big favorite, and he absolutely made himself look like one. Pat Sabatini did really well, too. Christian Leroy Duncan absolutely stinks. I'm really just done with him. Petrosian looked amazing, looked great. Duncan, too flashy,
way too flashy.
Hot dogging, don't like it.
Luke, I told you the over in the Joaquim Silva versus Arman Sarukian fight before that happened. I said take the over. It's 1.5. Take that over. Mash that over.
I had him by finish, in a parlay that CLD lost for me, so that would have been my path to victory. But by the time the moment came, I fucking was like, you know what? Here's what my mind did. I'm like, Joaquim Silva is being disrespected. The line is, yes, Petrosian's going to win. Sarukian is going to win. Sarukian's going to win, but this line should be closer. So what does that mean? It means Silva will lose, but he will not be finished. So I bet on Sarukian by finish. It was like 100 to win like 700, I think, or $800, something like that. Would have made a big impact on the night, and he finished him in the fucking end of the third, man. Like, it was so heartbreaking. I was like, and then he's like, respect to you, Joaquim, you took the fight, no one would take the fight. I'm like, you don't respect him because you finished him in the third. You only had a minute left. You could have just rode it out to a decision and you finished. It's like that one guy. What was that guy's name? Remember the guy he fought? He's like, I think his name's Demir. I don't know. He fought
Magomedov?
No, different Demir. He's like
oh yeah. Against Renato Moicano.
Yeah, Moicano. He's like, I wanted to fight longer. He's like, then why'd you fucking finish me?
You shouldn't have submitted me.
Yeah, you should not have submitted me. Okay, so let's get into the next card, guys. So again, if you want to hear us break down UFC on ABC 5, Emmett versus Taporia, that video is right there waiting for you, main card and prelims. Only one.
You're not even gonna touch on Vettori versus Cannonier at all.
Oh shit!
We
No.
never do the main event.
We definitely have to. And actually, we have a few things we have to talk about. There are things that I've forgotten to bring up, like on past episodes, that I need to bring up again.
Okay.
So yeah, let's
Fire
talk
off.
Go ahead. No,
Go
you
off.
first. Why?
Go off, King.
I forget what it is. I think it was me. I don't remember right now, but I remember it later on. I'm like,
all right.
We talked about that. You know?
But yeah, Jared Cannonier absolutely starched Marvin Vettori. I thought he was going to put him out there for a while. Marvin Vettori has a chin of granite, dude. Like, what can put this man down? He got hit with everything and the kitchen sink. Marvin Vettori threw $5,000 worth of punches during that fight. You know what I mean?
Dude, I want to say this. Jared Cannonier, everybody has this guy pegged as like, well, if he doesn't knock you out early, then, he's not going to win a decision. He's proven that wrong so many times now. He is really somebody you need to pay attention to as far as like, he is a workhorse. He is somebody who is going to work hard every single round. He resets beautifully. I'm going to go out on a limb here. He reminds me of Kamaru Usman.
I sincerely thought he beat Israel Adesanya. When I was watching that fight, I was like,
it was close.
Jared Cannonier is winning this fight right now.
Yeah, I mean, Sean Strickland gave him a better fight than Israel Adesanya did. That's for sure. It just is that, like, Jared, at that point with the Israel fight, didn't have the volume that he has now. I feel like he didn't have the confidence maybe to push his gas tank. But I think over the years, he's at the lab, right? He's with Sam Kavita or whatever his name is. But I'm just saying, Sam Kavita. I'm just saying, like, he's now got the fucking, like, confidence to push hard and break records with volume. He's like, I mean, that's Nick Diaz numbers he put up there. Like, he was putting up 50 strikes around. Like, that's Nick Diaz numbers.
Most in middleweight fight history.
Yeah, amazing. Tip of the hat to Jared Gordon.
By a lot.
Jared Cannonier. Tip of the hat to Jared Cannonier. Amazing fight, amazing performance. Give him the winner of give him the loser of Duplessis and Whitaker. Winner of that fight gets a title shot. Loser gets Cannonier. Winner of that fight gets the next title shot.
I don't know. I think he should just be a shoe-in. I think he should surpass both of that.
That's the thing, Alex. We don't have time. We got to keep fighting. We got to keep making money. Like, no more of this sit on the sitting on the bench waiting for your title shot shit is.
No, I think he should skip the line.
I think we just need to not make guys wait 7 fights to get title shots and just let guys get title shots more quickly and multiple times, but just keep them active. You know what I mean? Like, it shouldn't be the end of the world if you lose a fight. It never, in the UFC, it's never been a big deal, like, to lose a fight or two on your path to the title. That's boxing. That's not the UFC. But now it's like, ever since Khabib, it's like the standard has become everybody needs to have 15, amateur wins before they get a title fight. It's like, there can be a middle ground,
I wouldn't give him a title shot. I'd give him the winner of Whitaker.
What people forget about Khabib is that between Ramadan and him pulling out, he like isn't active and can only fight a certain amount of times per year. And same with Islam. So like these guys miss weight, they pull out, they fucking get hurt. Like look at his. But that's the thing I want to say. Khabib, honestly, not even in my top 2 or 3 greatest lightweights of all time. Like BJ Penn, way better lightweight. I think you can make a case for fucking Frankie Edgar as a better lightweight champ. I think you can make a case for fucking a lot of guys over Khabib.
And at the same time, like people put him number 1 fighter ever. I don't even know if he might sneak into the top 10, but he's definitely not like a top 5 certain, like for a fact is in your top 5.
Bro, he's got 3 decent wins. Gaethje, Poirier, and fucking
Charles Oliveira. No, Conor McGregor. Yeah.
So McGregor's a featherweight.
Yeah.
There you go. Fucking Poirier is like a middle
featherweight too.
Road guy.
He was a featherweight too.
Also a featherweight. And then you look at who's the other guy that I said? Gaethje. Okay. Sucks. So like that's like not even that good. You know what I mean? So it's like
he will die before dishonor. No, he will be dishonored before he dies.
He's been dishonored several times by now. He's getting dishonored on a regular occasion. But it's like those are 3 wins. The rest of the guys that can be beat are not in the like don't even have a fucking history. Like they're nobodies. You know what I mean? No offense, but they're fucking nobodies. And he took a lot of those guys to decision, and he took a lot of those fights were close. You know what I mean?
Gleison Tebow.
Yeah, like that's my point. Is that he doesn't. Khabib had like at one time, yes, a dominant skill set, dominant fighting style, and was able to win fights without taking a lot of damage. A lot of guys have done that. George St. Pierre has done that. Like plenty of
Demetrius Johnson.
Demetrius Johnson has done that. Like
John Jones.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue he took some damage in some fights, and some of the fights looked close, and some people thought people beat him. But it's like, no. At the end of the day, the point remains the same. That Khabib, it's getting old. It's getting old with the whole greatest of all time. He left with, he tucked tail and ran. Like, as McGregor says, I fight on. Okay, move on.
Yeah.
Move on.
But on top of that, like McGregor is begging for that fight. Khabib wants no parts in it. He wants Khabib. He wants Khabib. He wants Khabib.
No.
He won 4 of those rounds. You're gonna tell me he didn't win 4 of those rounds?
I don't think he won 4. The fight ended in the 4th, and he got dropped in the 3rd. And he was taken down for the entirety of the 1st. The only round he won was 2. So listen, stop getting ridiculous. All right, we have real business, like real man shit to talk about, like actual fights to spend money on. Okay, so guys, there are actually 3 really good locks on next Saturday's card. I'm gonna give you one right now. I'm gonna give you one lock. For the other 2, you gotta go to the Patreon. So we already broke the card down, but I didn't give you who my locks are. Okay, I didn't give you who my locks are. So I'm gonna give you now. There's more than 3 actually. There's more than 3. But I'm gonna give you one lock, absolute 150% lock. Randy Rude Boy Brown is gonna beat Wellington Turman at 170 pounds. Randy Brown over Wellington Turman. Now he's a big favorite. So you're saying, Luke, come on now. All right. I'll give you one more. Tabitha the Baby Shark Ricci. There you go. 2 locks for you. But if you want to know who I think my underdog lock is, who I would push all the chips to the center on if I had to pick one underdog for that, my friends, you got to go to the Patreon, okay? That's patreon.com/PurplePlayPursuit. We're going to break down that card, UFC on ABC 5 again with a fine-tooth comb top to bottom. But if you're just not ready to commit, we already broke it down for free. So no bitching, no whining, no complaining. I don't care. The card is broken down. It's free. It's in the past. It's right there. It's live. It's right there for you. Watch it. But if you're like, I already watched it, I want more, you got to give to get. He who pays the Pied Piper gets to pick the song. You pay the Pied Piper, you can direct message me directly. You pay the Pied Piper, you get access to the open bet sheet, the live open bet sheet. You pay the Pied Piper, you get all of our picks broken down nice and neat, delivered to you, very organized every week. So that's what you get at the Patreon. We're going to break down Sean Strickland versus Abbas Magomedov, 11-fight card, the return of Kevin Lee, the return of Guram, the return of Alexander Romanov, the return of Benoit Saint Denis, the return of Demir Ismagulov. It's a lot of returns. It's a lot of madness, and we're gonna break it all down for you, starting with the people's main event: Carol Rosa versus Yana Santos, 2 ladies with 12 losses combined. We're gonna go over this number 30 ranked featherweight women's fight. It's a wide open division, guys. We got Amanda Nunes is retiring. Either of these girls could be champion. Let's sift through the ashes of this division and see who our next star is. So I'm going to take all the venom out of the snake, guys. We have a fucking star-studded card. Abdul Razak Alhassan, Max Griffin. Didn't even need to mention them. The Violence Queen versus Melissa Gatto. 2 people who before right now I thought were the same person. This is a big card. We have a lot of fucking talent on it, but we're going to start with the worst fight of the night. This is the second worst fight of the night, actually. But we're going to start with this one, okay? This is the second worst fight of the night. We're going to start with it, and it's fine, okay? No worries. Yana Santos, 145 pound fight. Both these ladies, they're fighting at 145 this time, but Yana fought at 135 last time. So the one girl who, you might be excited to see, Yana Kunitskaya, a.k.a. Yana Santos, now Yana Santos, Thiago Santos' wife, Poha. All respect. Foxyana. She's the one you're probably here to see, but she's coming in, at a weight class that is not her own, at least not the one she fought at last time. She's going up. So
But
Cal
Rosa's
be a little slow.
Cal Rosa's a replacement, Luke. Macy Chiasson withdrew from the fight.
So you think Cal Rosa requested this?
I think Macy
Cal
Chiasson's
Rosa said I
145.
can fight, but I can't. Yeah, this fight was scheduled for 135. Cal Rosa said I can't.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
I'm telling you, I'm seeing it right here.
Oh,
Yana versus Macy was at 135. Chiasson withdrew. This fight's at 145. So it had to have been Cal Rosa who said,
okay.
Can't make 135. That's the only logical thing that makes sense. That's what we have to go with. So, Cal Rosa, if you couldn't even make weight, that means you wasn't training. That means you are not going to be able to go 3 rounds. I'm going to take Yana by decision. But I don't want to watch or bet on this fight. So I'm going to show up late to my own house on Saturday, so I missed this one.
But Carol's last fight was at featherweight as well against Norma Dumont.
Rosa, man. I can't stand Cal Rosa. She lost me money against that old lady. I mean, like, I just have a feeling. I don't even remember it really. I could be even wrong, but let's see if I'm wrong. She lost me money against an old lady. Who could I be talking about? Oh, it must be Sarah McMahon. Yep, Sarah McMahon is 42 years old, and Cal Rosa at the time was 27, and she lost to a woman 50 years older than her. I don't know if that's right, but it was a great deal older, 2 lifetimes older. That's why I can't stand Cal Rosa, man. Also, she dogged my girl Julia Avila. That fight was scheduled 4 times. I don't know if it was her fault or not, but I'm blaming her because she couldn't even beat 42-year-old Sarah McMahon. How you going to beat Julia Avila, who's an absolute beast? Norma Dumont, also a beast. Yana Santos, not a beast, but a beastlet. She's a beastlet. She's a mini beast. And now that she's got Thiago Santos in the house cooking up some good Brazilian. He's mixing up that Brazilian with the Russian, and we're gonna get a winning fighter. And she's 4-4 in the UFC, so this will make her 5-4. It's got to happen. Let's go. Let's get that post-marriage confidence. Let's get that post-marriage glow. You have everything you've ever wanted. You're a Russian woman living in St. Petersburg, but not Russia. St. Petersburg, St. Pete Beach, Florida.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Yana Santos as well. I hope that she's on the same stuff that Thiago was on when he lost that fight, because didn't he get popped for PEDs in the PFL?
I have no clue.
Okay, potentially.
Yeah, I don't know, dude.
But I hope he has her on the same acai, and I hope she wins the fight and then pops later. Yana Santos all the way. Foxiana.
Okay, beautiful.
Bust down, Foxiana.
Beautiful. Dan, thoughts?
My thoughts are Carol Rosa all the way. Yana Kunitskaya, Yana Santos, whatever you want to call her. Her whole family has been losing, whether it's herself or her husband. And I don't think she's going to be able to lose that losing stench, that stank that's been on her and her family. Beautiful as they both may be. Carol Rosa, on the other hand, not the winningest fighter in the world, but I think she's got the formula. Seems like Santos is pretty easily taken down, and Rosa, she's a big lady. She's a natural 145er.
Whoa.
Listen, in the best of ways, okay? We're in the Lizzo generation, Alex.
Now you're taking I gotta go. I can't. Lizzo.
I can't be associated with any of these comments.
Back. Dan, I don't know if you've ever heard, but Lizzo claps back, and it's a... I gotta go.
He's got to kick himself out before he even finishes his joke there. Yeah, no. Carol Rosa, natural 145er. Santos, I mean, she probably had to cut weight. Now she's going back up. Her body's probably all over the place, whereas Rosa, steady at 145. I think she's got the goods to get it
Dan,
done.
I thought the same thing, but only her last fight was at 145. Every other one was at 135.
Well,
I looked back at Carol Rosa. I was going to take the same exact stance, but then I did a little bit more research. I dug into the numbers, and the number was usually 135. So I think Luke is making a good point on her not being prepared for this, because she commonly fights at 135, in exception to the last fight she had.
You know what, though, Alex? That's one more fight than Yana Santos had at 145. So,
Alex, you know what? You must be right then initially, because if she fought her last fight at 145, this must be a new thing. She must have been like, yo, I will take a short notice fight, But as you know, I'm moving up to 145. So I don't want to fight it at 135.
Well, I don't know.
And also, why Dana just said after Amanda retired that he's going to cut that whole division.
Really?
He just said it at the press conference. He said we'll probably do away with that division.
I mean, they might as well.
So why even run this fight? Why are you doing this to us? Why are you making me watch this? Like, it's just crazy. I mean, it's not that bad that I have to watch it, but it's just there's no stakes. There's possibly no division. Like, does he think that we're like, you might, like, we don't care, cut it or don't. The men's 125 pound, don't cut it. Don't cut it. This one, cut it or don't.
Listen, it's an easy overplay, right? It's going to be juiced to like minus 400, but it's easy money. Just take the easy money.
Who's minus 400?
I'm saying the overplay will be something like that.
Oh, yeah. But so, okay, I mean, who's the favorite? Is it Rosa?
I don't think odds are out on this
think
one.
odds
Yeah.
Odds are out, dude. Check FanDuel. Odds are out.
None of us are on that foo-foo.
Yeah,
don't use FanDuel.
I love FanDuel. FanDuel is so much more superior than DraftKings. It's so much more superior. First of all,
I'm a BetMGM guy.
Dude, those wonky ones. I've tried Caesars, BetMGM, FanDuel, and DraftKings. Okay, and the
Not the Barstool Sportsbook.
FanDuel, DraftKings, and FanDuel are the only two that I can even give any respect to. The other two are wonky. They feel.
I won't use anything but the Barstool Sportsbook. That's the only thing I'll use.
I don't fuck with the legacy books like Caesars, like BetMGM. You know what I mean? Because I mean, I could be persuaded. I could be persuaded to be an exclusive BetMGM guy.
I mean, if you saw the money they gave to the guy from Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Larry David?
No.
Oh.
Leon.
JV
Smooth.
Yeah. I'm sure Patton Oswalt got his little piggy nose wet. I'm sure he wet his beak. I saw him in those commercials. He got his little rat fingers. The rat got his cheese, dude. The rat got ratatouille.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's not out of me, and it didn't even happen yet. You know what I mean? So I think I'm going to switch. I'm going with Rosa. It would behoove me to not be like. Basically, it's like I'm going to be annoyed at Carol Rosa, and I think if I don't switch, I'll be annoyed that she wins. You know, Dan, you were right. Those people are. My eyes are watering, dude. I don't even know what the fuck's happening now, but
bright lights, Friday night lights,
action or something. But yeah, you know, it's like Carol Rosa. Oh, dude, now I know what it is. God damn it. Sorry to swear. My girl put a bunch of fucking lotion on my face right before we started this, and now the light is like melting it. It's dripping in my eyes. I'm like, what is happening, dude? It's like my eyes are burning. And I was like, and now I'm having a flashback of her just going, let me put some of this on. I'm like, okay. Take over. Go. Somebody go. I'm taking.
All right, next fight up.
Next fight. Let's get that bad taste out of our mouth and the lotion out of our eyes. Next fight up. Loading. We have Guram Kutaeladze versus Elvis has left the building. Brener. You guys know I'm the biggest Guram supporter out there. I think he's one of the most highly technical, fundamentally sound, just all around best fighters in the UFC. Just doesn't have the name value yet. I honestly don't even know all that much about this Elvis Brener character, other than the fact that he's 14-3, fighting out of Brazil. More tape study needed. I believe this is a last-minute replacement on the part of Elvis. But I know who Guram is, so right off the bat, straight off the rip, I'm going with Guram Kutaeladze. Easy.
Yeah, okay. I'm annoyed at Guram. I feel like he's just always pulling out, always like not fighting and stuff. But he's gonna win this one, right? He's lost his last one, and he lost the one before that in his own mind against Gamrot. He won, but he said he lost. So Elvis Brener, just really no real data to go off of in the UFC. It's like Zubaira is so hit or miss. He's such. It's tough, right? I also remember that Zubaira didn't win that fight. I remember that I thought Elvis Brener won.
Yeah, I mean that's a lot of Zubaira fights, right? It's low volume, not a lot of action. He kind of wins on the numbers, but kind of not really. You know, does a lot of control time stuff up against the fence.
Yeah,
So
I'm with you, but I think you're right. I think Guram is just you know, he's right there. I mean, with the most elite prepared guys, he's going to come in competent everywhere, fighting all 15 minutes. I don't really see how he can lose this one. You know, aesthetically, I don't see how he loses it. I just think that he's more mature than the 25-year-old. He's not going to get submitted, which is where 80% of this guy, Elvis Brenner's wins come from. If he can't get submitted, then he wins a decision or knocks him out. So give me Guram Kutaeladze, the Georgian Viking. Alex.
Yeah, I mean, I think this one came in on today or yesterday's notice. I don't know if you guys have mentioned that this fight got made. And I think Guram is the last minute replacement. Yeah, for Jordan Levitt. I think I'm going to go with Guram. I just think that he's going to be way more game, way more tough. He had a close fight with Damir Ismagulov. All he's had is close fights, which gives me a little nervousness. You know, Mateus Gamrot, Damir Ismagulov, all he's had in the UFC are split decisions, but I think he gets on the right path on this one. I think they took this fight with good reason. Those guys, they stay ready, they stay active. I'm not as nervous about a last minute replacement.
And also, I think he was pulled from a fight recently that he had scheduled with Jamie Malarkey. You'll remember.
Okay.
He was originally going to fight Jamie Malarkey. I was the only one who took Jamie Malarkey, and then switched from being the biggest dog on the card to the biggest favorite on the card against homie from Tajikistan. And I switched from Malarkey, who I took as the biggest dog on the card, to now the new biggest dog on the card, and ended up being correct. So I won both times. Jamie Malarkey did beat Guram. Guram was unfit to even compete. I won. And then I won when I switched. So
fair enough.
All eyes on me. I'm going with Kyle Rosa. I'm going with Guram. Now I'm going with Alexander Romanov. Short, sweet, to the point. What do you guys think? I mean, if you know me, you know I fucking love Romanov, but it's hard to love him when he lost to Volkov, lost to Tybura, barely beat Juan Espino. You know, this is a guy that I had as like the Khabib, as like the Hamzat, as like the fucking new dominator of the division. And he has certainly fallen short of that expectation. But considering how high I put him up on the pedestal, it's like my own fault for thinking that he could be something special, like a Sergey Pavlovich of the division. There's only one Daniel Cormier, and this guy, sadly, he was throwing guys 5-point throws all across the cage, looking great, looking amazing. Sure, they were shitty competition, but he was doing what you do to shitty competition and showcasing effort and cardio would seem. But then that now has been exposed. It seems like he doesn't have the cardio. But I think in this matchup, it's just going to be, him versus an older version of him, kind of a smaller version of him, kind of, and a more war-torn version of him. So in a fight, young man versus his older self, I'm going to take the younger Moldovan over the older Bulgarian every single time.
Luke, short, sweet, and to the point, as always. I'm also going to go with Romanov for a lot of the same reasons. I think he's a victim of a very shallow division where he's going to have to – he builds up 2 wins on trash talent. He's going to have to fight somebody within that top 5, top 8 range that is pretty darn good, like Andrei Arlovsky, for example. But I'm going with Romanov here. I think that Blagoy's path to victory is much like Alir Latifi, where it's a lot of holding you up against the cage, putting the pressure on you. Not really a lot of action, and I think Alexander Romanov will have that action to get the judge's decision.
Oh gosh, yeah, this one's going to be sloppy. I think it's going to be an overplay for sure. I'm kind of thinking Blagoy in this one. I think he's going to be tough to take down. I think it's going to be a low volume fight on both ends of it, with Blagoy just eking it out. I think there's going to be a lot of stuff to takedowns, which is going to be, in his favor, looking good to the judges. I see both guys kind of fading out, with Blagoy having more experience being gassed out and managing that. So just by a hair, I like Blagoy Ivanov in this matchup, which are, how most of his wins go, just by a hair.
Dan, want to shoey bet? How about I shoey bet you right now that Romanov takes him down more than once? I'll say once if he finishes him off the first one, I win. But if he gets back up, I'll say he does it at least another time.
Nah, because one is pretty easy. That's not.
I mean, you're saying he's not going to get takedowns, though.
I mean, he could get a takedown. He'll pop up pretty quick.
You're talking about Blagoy Ivanov, a heavyweight. He doesn't pop up quick off the couch.
He'll crawl up to that cage and he'll wall walk it. He'll be up to the.
You're crazy. Alexander Romanov is a heavyweight that outweighs him by 20 pounds. His nickname is King Kong.
Bro, he couldn't even take down
big Moldovan belly off you if you're Blagoy Ivanov. No,
he couldn't take down Volkov, who's like the worst takedown defense in the heavyweight division ever. Versus a guy who does sambo.
Volkov's
he does
sambo, bigger than Blagoy. And he's got good takedown defense, and that's probably all he works on because it happened to him since the Chris Curtis fight. It's probably all Volkov's has worked.
I could take down Volkov easily.
Yeah, you couldn't beat Volkov in literally any sport except maybe ping pong. Maybe beat him in ping pong, but I don't even know.
Bro, I'm wearing a USA Olympic shirt. I'm telling you right now, I would take those long Russian legs down.
Okay. Dan, you couldn't even take me down.
I could take you down.
Alex, could you take down Volkov?
Hell no. Romanov?
No, Volkov.
No.
Oh, Volkov? No. You would knock me out. He's like 7 feet tall.
All right, so we're going straight forward. Trilby certification on Guram. He will be the only one of the night. Romanov will be who Alex and I are taking. Dan is going to side with Ivanov. Don't be confused, guys. They're very different. Romanov, Ivanov,
Yamanov.
No, there was something better there. Work on it. Come back to me at the end of the episode.
All right.
Romanov, Ivanov.
The writers are on strike, Luke. What do you want me to do? I have no writers anymore.
It's actually for you to write right now live on the show. Improving it all would be scab work. Ryan Reynolds actually is being denied the ability to improv lines for the new Deadpool movie. So if you're thinking about seeing the new Deadpool movie, I read in the tabloids that Ryan Reynolds, he was a big part of Deadpool's quirky and irreverent style of improvisational lines on set. Well, no more. No improving, Ryan Reynolds. That's technically writing. You don't want to be a scab. So Deadpool 3, 4, whatever we're on, will suffer big time from this strike, Alex.
I like the Deadpool movies. I am excited to watch them.
I've never seen one of them. Does Ryan Reynolds do a lot of quirky dialogue in it?
He's very quirky. He's a very quirky guy.
He's so silly.
Very sarcastic.
Oh my god.
Have you ever seen Waiting?
Yes, I'm still waiting to get my cable back so I can watch his silly soccer comedy about
no
happened on the pitch with him and the Always Sunny guy.
Well, I don't think that's a comedy. I think that's just a documentary. I think you're thinking of Doug Lasso.
I was thinking of Ted Lasso.
Doug Lasso. I
was thinking of Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso.
I really was thinking of Ted Lasso. All right, let's move on. Kevin Lee, Hinat Fakhretdinov. Guys, this one's pretty straightforward. I don't know what Kevin Lee ever did to piss off the UFC matchmaking brass, but it must have just been him constantly asking for the hardest fights all the time. And they're like, we can give you that, but it's not going to be that you're now backdoor engineering your way to a title shot. It's going to be, we give you hard fights that no one knows who the fuck you're fighting. So, look at the guys he's lost to, right? I mean, he lost to Oliveira. He lost to Rodriguez. He lost to Dos Anjos.
Quinta, real estate agent.
Yeah, but it's like, what am I even talking about? Why did I think that this is not the only time that he's been given like a Hinat Fakhretdinov type? I'm looking.
Luke, no one likes when you break down the fight actively on the video.
No. I'm just trying to think, like, why did I feel that he was being given really shitty fights? You know what I mean? Like, why? Okay, so he fought Tony Ferguson. He lost. That was sort of like his coming out party that he blew. He fumbled the bag, if you will. Kevin Lee and Tony Ferguson is like Darren Till versus Tyron Woodley, right or wrong? Right or wrong, right. Then he comes back and beats Edson Barboza
Correct.
by doctor stoppage cut in the 5th round. Kind of a crazy fight where he did the chicken dance and lost. Loses to Ally Quinta. Real grudge match. Really his best fight ever in terms of like, yeah, we're all looking forward to this one. This is going to be a fucking grudge match. Like, these guys do not like each other. Great fight back in 2018. Loses it. Loses to RDA. Then Alex and I are live. UFC 244, Masvidal versus Diaz. We are live. We are in the house. He head kicks Gregor Gillespie. Fucking knocks him out. Then
Says head in the rafters.
Bad.
In history forever.
Then he looks like a different guy out there against Charles Oliveira in that weird fight in the empty arena pandemic time, you know. Comes back against Daniel Rodriguez after they tried to give him Sean Brady twice. Maybe that's what I'm thinking of, right? Because I think that they were like Sean Brady, and he's like, nah, give me a fucking Islam. And they're like, no, you're gonna
Lee
fight
and Brady both had injuries though, so Lee pulled out the first time and Brady pulled out the second.
Word. Well, then he gets in there in, essentially a fight like against Diego Sanchez. Like, he took Diego Sanchez to decision. What is this? A pro wrestling match? What's going on here? Hinat Fakhretdinov is going to run through Kevin Lee, I think. I think he beats his ass. Finishes him.
You know who's a big fan of Rinat Fakhretdinov? Kevin Lee's mama. That one is.
Don't you ever talk about my mama?
There we go. That was for you, Chiesa. Yeah, I think Rinat is going
Loser.
to also.
I hate Chiesa. Thanks for bringing him up. He is fodder.
He's fighting soon.
He stinks. Oh, when? Who cares? Like,
who's he fighting?
Fighting the Smack Man. Kevin
Oh,
Owens.
the Smack Man?
Oh, yeah. Perfect. Come out to Stranglehold so Smack Man can smack you up and triangle choke you so you can get choked out after walking out to fucking Ted Nugent for the 5th time. You ain't Randy Couture and you ain't Ted. Stop walking out to Stranglehold and then getting strangled.
I like how he stood up for his mom. I like how he stood up for his mom, okay?
No, all these Washington fighters, they all stink. Every single
and
one.
Michael Chiesa, both of them, I'm never having them on the show. How about that? They'll never be on my show.
He's got a fight coming up.
On the PPP. Terrence McKinney does not have an open invitation anymore, nor does Michael Chiesa. Neither of them have open invitations on the show.
Okay. Fair enough. My pick is Rinat. I think he's gonna absolutely mollywop Kevin Lee. Wrestling all day, all night.
What?
I haven't heard the word mollywop in a very long time, and it just made me giggle.
He's gonna mop the floor with him.
No, he said mollywop.
No, I knew what I was saying.
Okay.
Wait, Luke, you know him.
Ready.
Yeah, Bangkok ready. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Rinat as well. I mean, if you're taking, all respect to one of the goats, Diego Sanchez. I love Diego Sanchez, and his Instagram is even better. If you like his fights, watch his Instagram for 2 seconds.
I like his coach.
I loved.
Well, his ex-coach, Fabio.
Yeah, Joshua Fabia. Joshua Fabia. Open invitation for the show.
Open invitation for the show for Joshua.
Whenever you want. And give me a couple of these techniques. I'd like to hang upside down and get punched in the head a couple times. Sometimes you just got to rattle the brain. Sometimes you have to rattle the brain. Who knows? Who knows what happens? Antonio Brown seemed to do very well after rattling his brain. I am going with Hinat. Everybody's going with Rinat. Is it Rinat?
What do you mean? Yeah.
Is it Rinat or Hinat?
I mean, he's Russian, so it's Rinat. It's not Hinat.
I know a lot more Russian than me.
I say everybody's R's as H at this point because I show respect. I show respect. Do you show respect? Probably not.
But plenty of respect. Come on.
Can you count to 3 in Portuguese?
No.
Exactly. So take a seat. Un, dos, tres. Is that it? I think that's it. All right, let's move on. Those traits. I can do it in Spanish. Can you do it in French?
Un, toi.
Twa, 2 and 3. Very confusing. That must be. That's probably why their economy never really caught up to ours. They're confusing 2 and 3 for the same. Doesn't make any sense. All right. Ivana Petrovic versus Luan Carolina. This is the worst fight of the night. So earlier I said Yana versus Rosa was the worst. This is the worst. That one's second worst. The only reason I say this is the worst is because Ivana Petrovic is a UFC newcomer. We got to haze her a little bit, right? We can't just be like, oh, we're so excited to have you. Like that's simp shit. We're going to haze her a little bit. So I don't even know where this woman is from. Croatia, Norway. Who gives a shit? Beat it. We don't even want you in here. Guys, trust me, this always works with the ladies. You gotta what's the word? What did mystery say?
Neg them.
Yes, you gotta neg them a little bit. So I'm going with the cutie pie, Ivana Petrovic. She's stunning. Her record is 6-0. I love her, and she's one of my new favorite fighters. So I'm excited. This other girl couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with a fucking sledgehammer if she was standing 2 feet away from it. Luana Dread Carolina is gonna get knocked out, bad, finished on the feet. And then finished on the ground. So Ivana by submission, but it'll be a technicality. We'll all know that she was heavily concussed on her way down because Ivana pretty much can do no wrong. We're happy to have her.
Is this the Russian Ronda lady?
No. This is a brand new hottie.
We already have seen 2 of them this calendar year. And you think we're gonna see a third?
I don't know. I'm not saying I wanted it. I was just wondering if that was the case.
Blatant gimmick infringement that we have 2 Ronda Rousey.
I think this is the Russian Ronda. This is the Russian Ronda. That's
like the Michael Jackson impersonator who's choking people out in the streets all the time.
Okay, enough.
Okay, can this episode?
Save it for the Patreon, Alex.
Jeez.
What? What?
Anyway, let's pivot.
In this episode, I don't.
Not the ignore the one money ad then multiply. That was not related. Don't try to sift through and be like that was in reference to it was not. I clicked it by accident. Okay. Let's move on. Ivana Petrovic, Luana Carolina. I picked the brilliant, beautiful Petrovic. Alex, who are you taking?
I'm taking Luana Carolina, of course. Because Billie Jean is not my girl, man.
With all that Ivana Petrovic brings to the table and has done for us, and you're going to go with...
What has she done for us?
The Dread Pirate Roberts. What's that? What is that? Why is it in my head? Every time I see Dread, I just think the Dread Pirate Roberts. What is that?
I don't know.
Maybe an R.L. Stein book? I don't know.
Dread Pirate Roberts is an identity assumed by several fictional characters in the novel The Princess Bride. I've seen that movie 100 times. All right, that makes sense. That's why I would have that. Sometimes you just remember stuff you don't know why you remember them. All right. So what?
I'm going with Dread. I'm going with somebody who's been here a while. She beat Lupy Go Denis. A year ago.
What people don't realize about knockouts is like you get knocked out a year ago. If I knocked you unconscious a year ago, it's like okay, put it this way: if a year ago I said you got a UFC fight in a year, it would take your ass a lot to get in shape in a year to fight in the UFC. And if I knocked you out and then said, okay, now in a year you're gonna fight in the UFC, you got to heal the concussion then train. She's had a fight between then and now. How much healing is really taking place?
Luke, have you ever watched the NFL?
They have a lot more help in their locker room than the UFC does. Let's just say that. They have a whole team in their locker room. These fighters have their fucking Uncle Gary.
All right, I'm going with Dread. It was a year ago.
I'm just saying, if you got knocked out today and had a fight in a year, just conceptualize that. Like
3 weeks. Give me 3 weeks after a knockout. I'll be ready.
Crazy. You're crazy.
I think I already gave my pick, kind of. I'm going with Ivana as well. Anytime, you see a lady getting submitted the way that Dread did, probably not the best grappling chops in the world. So the Russian Ronda is going to get it done.
This
isn't Russian Ronda.
This is a sneaky spot to capitalize.
No, it's not. No, it's not. This is not Russian Ronda.
She's Russian. She looks like Ronda. She's known for
Croatian.
She's not Russian.
Croatian and Norwegian, bro. She's fighting out of Norway. She's Croatian born. There's no.
All right, so she's fighting in a country that's on the border of Russia. It's the Russian Ronda. She's attractive like Ronda, and she does grappling like Ronda.
She's first of all, to put her in. Dan, I'm not going to. All right, if you want to hear me rate, give the honest 10-point rating between Ivana and Ronda, I will do that on the Patreon. But I'm not going to be rating for Dan's amusement. I'm not going to be rating two female fighters on the public YouTube episode. But if you want to hear it, go to the Patreon. $100 for the year. Get in there, and I will give you my honest opinion. 1 to 10, Ronda versus this girl, and you'll know that what I'm trying to say here is she's in a whole other category than Ronda. She's perfect. Okay, so Ronda,
in fact, we are
Russian
going to
Ronda
do
2.0.
we are going to do a lady fighter draft on the Patreon. The second we get on the Patreon, we draft lady fighters hottest to least hot.
Honestly, because and I'll tell you why on the Patreon. Okay, I'll tell you exactly why on the Patreon.
A 3-woman team. A 3-woman team.
Again, I'll tell you why on the Patreon. All right, Benoist BSD taking on. Oh.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's my old friend, one of the Bonfims. It's funny. No river long enough doesn't contain a bend. So you'll remember, this man made his debut into the UFC on a very fateful night of January 21st. I was in the Poconos, and I said, I'm going to place a very gigantic wager on Terrence McKinney because he's an underdog in this fight against a UFC newcomer. And we've seen Terrence McKinney fight, and he's very good. And this guy, I've never seen fight and has not fought in the UFC before, so he's probably not very good. Boy, was I wrong. The Bonfim brothers entered the UFC like a hurricane and a tornado. Hurricane, tornado, combined to make a supernado. And this supernado fucked two UFC guys up bad. I forget who his brother beat the shit out of, but he beat the shit out of Terrence McKinney bad. Knocked him out. Earned my respect. Let's just say that. And you know who has lost my respect since then is the one Terrence McKinney. So it's kind of funny, right? Because I bet heavy on Terrence. I lost all that money. And I hated Bonfim in that moment, kind of, for my own stupidity. But what did I do, Dan? That night, I pulled myself up by my bootstraps. I took Brandon Moreno by knockout and Jamal Hill in a 2-fight parlay, and I won $2,000 on that 2-fight parlay. I won all my losses back. I won all of the money I needed to pay for the whole beautiful ski trip. And then what did I also do that night? What did I do that night for you?
You wet my beak.
I gave you about $200 that night. And Alex, what did I give you?
$0. What the fuck? This is the first I'm hearing about this.
You bet on Glover Teixeira, and you were eagerly encouraging others to do the same, and you were trying to kill my vibe, and you wanted me to lose my parlay with Jamal Hill at the top. You wanted Glover to win so bad.
Glover Teixeira is a personal friend of mine, Luke.
Well, guess what?
Wow.
Maybe he'll let you wet your beak then. Maybe he'll let you wet your beak because I gave you nothing, and you were misbehaving. You were misbehaving, and you were not gambling responsibly. So I could not reward or I couldn't clean your diaper when you were not gambling responsibly. Okay, so I'm taking Bonfim.
Oh, Luke, cut it out. Come on.
I'm taking the Bonfim. I got to reward good behavior. He came in and he did a marvelous job, so I got to reward that. Now, I'm kind of torn here, right? Because I'd like to reward good behavior on the other end, too. Not only does BSD fight to not get dropped, not get stopped, not get finished in his fight against Lipski, but then goes on to get 2 finish wins in the UFC right after that to basically prove I'm not going anywhere. I'm here to stay. People were saying that fight with Lipski took years off his life. People need to shut the fuck up. This is a French special forces agent. He's a beast. He
already took all the years off his life they possibly could, serving his military.
Added him. It's like Yoel Romero. They gave him the military grade shit, baby. He's got fucking new equipment. He's probably a clone. We're good. He's cool. He's not going to be impacted by a little fist fight. These people are so soft. He didn't even get knocked down. Do you think his body's that incompetent that it lacks the self-preservation skills to go to sleep when it's taking on too much damage? That's silly. That's crazy. He's fine. The punches didn't hurt that bad. You're good. I'm going with BSD. I know I said I was going with Bonfim, but I'm not. I just talked myself out of it. I'm going with BSD.
Luke, well, you are crazy because two of
okay, so you're right. I'm going with Bonfim. Because BSD's only path to victory is by submission, and he's obviously not going to submit Bonfim, and he's probably going to get knocked out.
And Luke, Bonfim, 2 of his only 3 losses. Let me know if you recognize these names. Adriano Moraes. Do you recognize that?
The guy who knocked out Demetrius Johnson.
Yes. And then Hanato Moicano. Bad.
No.
Money Kano. Bad boys. Those are some bad boys. And he went in there with a bad boy in Terrence McKinney. A bad boy. Luke, you want to put the video on? To show how bad of a boy.
No. I don't have it anymore. I deleted it.
Yeah, because we deleted
Terrence not having him on the show, so there's no reason to have his hype. We highlight reel I customized and made for him and put into my fucking drop lists so that he could have a cool introduction to the show.
No, the bad boy is no longer.
And he knows how to use Twitter.
Yes. Absolutely. He finds a way to get on Ariel Hawani show. Believe me.
Yeah. He'll find a way. It's okay.
But anyway, Ishmael Bonfim is going to win this fight. He's only lost to bad men except for Jefferson Lucas. I don't necessarily know too much about him, but most of the people I know named Lucas are bad boys. Bad boys. So I'm going with Bonfim.
I am a Bonfim bro through and through. It really hurt in the moment watching Luke's big play, as we call it, as PPP lore goes, for Terrence McKinney go down in flames. By one Bonfim bro.
It was a $500 bet. I don't make bets that big often at all. I think I've done it like I did it on Hamdi Abdelwahid because he bought Donzel Mays. I bet on him when he bought Donzel Mays. And not only did he barely win, but he ended up popping after the fight. So the win is a no contest. But I still won on that one. And I did it with Terrence McKinney. And I think I also did it with George Masvidal once.
And Hamzat by finish.
And let us not forget BSD. He pulled out against our boy, Joe Selecki. He did not want to fight Joe Selecki. He did not want any of that smoke. He knew if he went to the ground with Joe Selecki, he's getting tapped in a heartbeat. He doesn't have 2 seconds. Joe Selecki's position over submission like real fighters are.
All right, so we are all going with BSD, or I'm sorry, Ismail Bonfim. We're all going with Bonfim. Trophy certified Bonfim. We won't be fooled again. Next, we got Bruno, the Hulk Ferreira, taking on Abdul Razak Alhassan, Judo Thunder. If there's one thing I know about the 37-year-old from Ghana by way of Arlington, Texas, is that he does not like Joaquin Buckley. He fucking hates Buckley. He knocked out Claudio Ribeiro in his last fight 4 months ago, and he couldn't stop talking about how much he fucking hates Buckley. So he wants to get in there with Buckley yet again. He's got 2 big losses that stand out to us in the UFC. His knockout loss against Chaos Williams 2 years ago, and the fight against Jacob Malkoun that went to decision. Other than that, he knocked out Chicarico with a head kick, knocked out Claudio Ribeiro knocked him out, lost that split to Buckley that he obviously wants back. But now he's got bigger problems. He got the Hulk, a guy 7 years younger, already putting him in a 66% win category or better. He's going against a guy who knocked out Gregory Rodriguez, a fight that Gregory fought beautifully and looked amazing, looked really well until he didn't. Ferreira hit him with some off-speed kind of counter and put him to fucking bed. I like Ferreira here. I just like the youth. I like the measurables, and I like, the fact that he beat a much more. If you put RoboCop against Alhassan, I would say give me RoboCop all day, all night. This guy knocked out RoboCop on short notice. I think he fucks up Alhassan as well here over the course of 3. I don't know how he gets it done, but I think being 7 years younger and undefeated is going to play a role.
Yeah, this was another January 21st guy. So same kind of juju from that night. I don't know how this is going to go. I think the play would be fight does not go distance. Obviously, 2 knockout artists. I'm going to go with Abdul Razak Alhassan. I think Bruno was a little bit fluky in that last bout against RoboCop. I think RoboCop wins 8 times out of 10 in that matchup. So not that it was necessarily lucky, it was a nice little right cross that he threw, but I just don't think that that display was really him, 8 times, 9 times out of 10. So give me the better fighter, in my opinion, Abdul Razak Alhassan.
Abdul Razak Alhassan has the same exact career trajectory with fluky knockouts, knocking out a lot of people, heavy power, with a lot more drama, of course. But I'm gonna go with Bruno Ferreira here. He's only seen the second round twice in his entire career. There's not a single way Abdul Razak Alhassan has a single path to victory here. This is a knockout artist against a knockout artist, but the other knockout artist has other skills and other senses. He has a couple submission finishes. This is not even comparable. Abdul Razak Alhassan stinks.
If you look at our Trophy certified picks so far, we got Hinat Fakhretdinov, Garam Kutaeladze, and Ishmael Bonfim. I mean, dream blunt rotation or what? Like, there's three guys you definitely want to have your back in a bar fight or what? I mean, like, those are three studs. Like,
hey, I want one more person in our dream blunt rotation, and he is on this card later in the evening, and I hope he is in our blunt rotation myself.
Well, let's see. I mean, just between the three guys we have trophy certified, they have a total record combination of 40. Sorry, where's Guram? Okay, so 52 wins and 8 losses. So the three guys with trophy certified, their combined records are 52 and 8. But you know what's crazy? If you look at their opponents only have 11 combined losses. So not as many wins, but still, like, very good matchups on this card. A lot of undefeated guys. You got BSD with only 1 loss. You got Bruno Ferreira with none. You got
2 losses for BSD. He pulled out against Selecki.
Yeah, facts. And then Romanov has 2 losses, but honestly, I don't even want to fucking put him in the same category as these guys with those two. Those are 2 not good losses. You gotta beat fucking Marcin Tybura, bro. Like, I don't know what to tell you. You should be relegated to the lower depths of the rankings if you can't get past Tybura. He is a gatekeeper.
You brought that name up, and that made me think that Dan might be right. Marcin Tybura, like, Blagoy Ivanov, is just as good as Marcin Tybura.
Let's roll. Let's roll into this next one, baby. We got Tijuana Zone. Sorry, Ecuador Zone fighting out of Tijuana. Michael Morales. Is that Michelle or Michael? Michael Morales. Michael Morales taking on Max Payne Griffin, the 37-year-old out of Sacramento, California. He is coming off a win against Tim Means. His second split decision in a row, his third decision in a row, 2-1 in his last 3 with a lone loss coming to it, the Neil Magny split decision a year ago. But overall, you know, Max Griffin, 37-year-old, whatever. I mean, he's really been given favorable competition, right? Like, over the last 3 years, he got Ramiz Brahimaj, Kenan Song, Carlos Condit old, Neil Magny old, Tim Means old, right? He's old. He's 37. But now it's time to pay the toll. Time to get that 10th loss. He's taking on newcomer, 24-year-old, 6 foot tall, 79-inch reach, going to have a height and a reach edge over Max Payne Griffin. He's going to be 13 years younger, undefeated, 14-0, back-to-back finish wins in the UFC against better opponents than this guy Max Griffin has sniffed in a while. He knocked out Trevin Giles. He knocked out Adam Fugit. Before that, same old story, same song and dance. He's been knocking out people since his days in the other promotions. And I'm going with fucking Morales. What more can I say? I'm going with Michael Morales, 14-0, Tijuana, Mexico. He's going to smash Max Payne Griffin. And I love Max Griffin. I pick him all the time. But sorry about this one. You got to go with age, got to go with youth, got to go with the finisher to finish Max Griffin.
Brahimaj pulled out against him, but he pulled out against Renat Fakhretdinov, which might have been the best decision in the world. Now he has a higher position in the card against Max Griffin. I think he destroys Max Griffin's. Michael Morales for me.
Yeah, 12 out of 14 wins by finish. The youth, the athleticism, everything is on this kid's side. Big time setup fight on ABC to get him introduced to the public at large. I think that this is a relatively easy play. We're going with Michael Morales.
Cool. Well, next we will go to a solid lady fight. 2 ladies that look a lot alike. I mean, you look at their picture on Tapology, they look a lot alike. They look a lot alike in real life. I thought they were the same person for a while. We got the Queen of Violence, Ariane Lipski, taking on Melissa Gatto. I obviously know who Ariane is now, but really her wins, they stand out, but are few and far between. She looked really, really great against Dredd. She looked great against Mandy Bum. She looked great against JJ Aldrich. These fighters are not that good, though. When you put her against stiffer competition, she's been knocked out 3 times. She's 29 years old, 3 knockout losses. Coming in there against Melissa Gatto, who just fought Tracy Cortez, but before that was happy to knock out her last 2 UFC opponents, Tajara Eubanks and Victoria Leonardo. So I'm going to go with Melissa Gatto. She's been finishing the cans they give her, whereas Lipski has been decisioning the cans they give her. And Gatto gets finishes, whereas Lipski gets finished. So as much as it pains me to say it, I'm taking Melissa Gatto.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a new race for the crown, and I think Gatto is going to be the new queen of violence. We're going to see a lot of violence out of Gatto, and she's just going to be the person who wants to win the fight more in terms of these 2 individuals. Dan, what do you think?
Domo arigato, Melissa Gatto. Gonna go with a triple P certification here on Gatto. We got the Violence Queen being submitted, well, not submitted, but ground and pounded twice. Once by Antonina Shevchenko, which we know not a good grappler whatsoever. Melissa Gatto, high level BJJ, black belt, long limbs, knows how to use them. I think this is a solid play here with Melissa Gatto.
All right. Next, we have the co-main event. Co-main event, the return of Damir Ismagulov fighting Grant KGD Dawson. Grant Dawson, man, people got mad at him for leaving his coach, James Krause, and going to Florida. But in hindsight, it looks as though he made a positive decision for himself, and he's got the record to prove it. So, yeah, he did have a majority decision. Was it a draw? Majority draw against Ricky Glenn, the always tough Ricky Glenn, but relatively spotless in his career. Grant Dawson has back-to-back submission wins. Rear naked choked Mark Madsen, the Olympian. Rear naked choked Jared Gordon. Both in the 3rd round too, man. Grant Dawson works hard. He's got 3 third-round finishes in the UFC. He's got 2 second-round finishes in the UFC. He's got a second-round finish in the Contender Series. He's got 3 second-round finishes outside the UFC, 4, and several first-round finishes. So he's seriously a beast, honestly. I think he could shock a lot of fucking people here. Okay, I'll tell you guys what. If Grant Dawson comes in as a massive underdog, I will bet on Grant Dawson. If Grant Dawson comes in as the favorite, I will bet Damir Ismagulov. Simple as that. I think this is a fight where I think Damir deserves to be the favorite, but I don't think they'll make him the favorite. So if he's a dog, I'll be tempted to bet on him. Grant Dawson, I believe, has a very tough fight ahead of him here, and I'd like him to be an underdog. I think he doesn't get a finish here. I think he maybe wins a decision. So it's tough. It's confusing for me to really give you my pick without knowing kind of like where the public benchmark is. Who do I think is going to win? I think it's going to be a close fight. What am I worried about? I'm worried about Damir retiring and coming back. The pick's Grant Dawson.
Yeah. I wanted to go Grant Dawson. I'm a big Grant Dawson fan, but I'm going to go with Damir Ismagulov. He has fought way higher level of competition in terms of Joel Alves, Thiago Moises, Rafael Alves, Garam Kutaeladze, and Arman Sarukian. So he's been in there with high-level competition. I think that my heart wanted to go with Grant Dawson, being a country boy himself, me as a country boy myself. I wanted to go with Grant Dawson, but no, I'm going to have to go with Damir Ismagulov.
Grant Dawson is a city slicker, not a country boy whatsoever, and a bit of a fraud, if you ask me. His win over Leonardo Santos had to get it at the very last second. Very fluky, much like Bruno Ferreira. When he goes up against guys who are pure grapplers or, like just kind of purely striking, he bears well. You know, he does well for himself. But when you go up against a guy like Damir Ismagulov, who can grapple and strike, well-rounded, not going to gas out, he's going to have some big-time problems. I've seen Grant Dawson gas out many a times. I think his winning streak is going to go down Dawson's Creek. That's where we'll end up. I'm going with Damir Ismagulov.
I really would be picking with my heart if I went with Damir Ismagulov because I do want him to win. I want him to just do well, you know what I mean, and succeed and beat Dawson.
Here's the thing: what does Joe Selecki do to these guys?
He destroys them.
Kills them both. Kills them both. Cold blood.
I think that those are the fights I want to see. I want to see Joe Selecki versus Grant Dawson. I think I said this on the podcast. I want to see. I think I said that to Joe. I said they're putting you guys on a collision course for one another, and I want to see him fight guys like Sarukian, Ismagulov. To me, Joe's always fighting guys that don't have enough UFC experience, or not don't have enough UFC experience, but I want to see him fight guys. I want to see Joe in the mix with other guys who are in the mix with other guys who are in the mix. You know what I mean? I need to get him in the cesspool of guys who have interchanging opponents to see, start creating some gun smoke,
Mm-hmm. No, I agree.
Because, let's see. If I take a quick look at Joe Selecki's last few opponents, just to make sure I'm not talking to my ass completely. Carl Deaton III, that was short notice. Alex Da Silva he's got some good UFC fights. 1, 2, 3. Joe was his fourth fight. He had Brad Riddell before that. But again, his only win in the UFC was against, his only name opponent before Joe was Brad Riddell, right? Who again so I'm just saying, if you look at, but then he fought Jared Gordon, right? But that was back in 2021, before Jared fought Patty. He did fight Jim Miller, Austin Hubbard, Matt Wyman.
Austin Hubbard on the new season of The Ultimate Fighter.
Wyman, I'm talking about Hubbard. I'm talking about Da Silva and Deaton. We need to get Joe in the mix with a Dawson or a Ismagulov. You know what I mean? He's got too many wins, and the one loss he has is close. Split.
And Austin Hubbard's on the new season of The Ultimate Fighter. Him and Roosevelt Roberts. Have you guys been watching that at all?
That's insane. They take pretty good UFC fighters and put them on The Ultimate Fighter to kick the shit out of
Bonfim call out Joe Selecki?
Who?
Bonfim, when he beat Terrence McKinney, didn't he call out Joe Selecki?
Don't remember.
Yeah, I don't either. All right, let's move on. We got Sean Strickland versus Abbas Magomedov. Abbas Magomedov, man, he has a different body structure, as Theo Vaughn would say. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like he's got an extra set of shoulders on him, and no face. I don't know, built weird.
He's got a weirdly long neck for how big his traps are, and has a small face that makes him kind of look like he has a triple chin. And believe me, I'm a victim of the same circumstances. I'm jacked up. My traps are up to my ears. Nobody has to. I got mountains on my shoulders, but no problem.
Here's my thing, guys. I'm going to keep it so short and so sweet and so to the point. Dustin Stolfus is not a very good fighter. That's his only fight in the UFC, and it lasted 19 seconds. That said, Abbas Magomedov. I feel like I'm fucking talking about Albus Dumbledore over here. Albus Dumbledore Magomedov. He's fought 19 seconds in 3 years and 7 months, guys. Sean Strickland has fought 4.5 hours in that amount of time. So I'm going with Sean Strickland. That being said, I've never, ever picked a Sean Strickland fight correctly in his entire career in the UFC and in my entire career of betting. I picked Uriah Hall. I picked. Let's actually. I mean, we started this podcast. To be honest with you, I think I could probably pull the actual record. I don't know if I picked Strickland against Jack, Brandon Allen, Jotko. I don't know if I might have picked him against Jotko.
I might have picked the white Mike Tyson over Sean Strickland at one point.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure I picked.
Jack Marshman. That used to be his name.
I don't even know, man, but I do know that
No, he's the Hammer.
I picked against Sean in several areas, and I've been proven wrong. And I picked on Sean several areas that have been proven wrong. Ferreira, Cannonier, bet on Sean. Magomedov, bet against him. So there you go. Yeah, I'm going with Sean Strickland here, but keep advised, I'm not good at reading Sean Strickland.
Dan.
Yeah, I'll go. Strange main event. How a guy with the one UFC fight just gets a main event shot, and I really don't know.
Makes no sense, right? It makes no sense.
I don't get it. I really don't. I mean, he's got a pretty impressive career outside of the UFC, but he's got a loss in the PFL. He was knocked out. I like what you're saying.
Sean's opening it, as a mine on FanDuel at least. Minus 192, Caesars minus 165.
Seems to make sense. I'll take Sean Strickland at that price.
Plus 148 for Magomedov.
Yeah, I mean, he's not, like a Russian dude who's going to be like wrestling him to death. He seems to be a striker. I like Sean Strickland in a boxing match, 9 times out of 10 for most of these UFC guys. So, when you add in the ring rust that this guy's going to be bringing to the table versus, as Lukey said, Sean Strickland fighting for 4 or 5 hours within that same time frame, I think it all adds up to a Sean Strickland win for me. I don't know. Strange main event. What do you think, Alex?
This guy, he got knocked out by Lewis put the guns out on Taylor. Besides that, he's seen a decision 2, both losses. Oh, no, one was a majority decision. Okay, so three fights in the last 9 years have went to decision for this guy, a bus. I think Sean Strickland won't go down. I don't think this guy has the same power of Alex Pereira, former middleweight champion. I don't think that's the case. Dan's right. This is absolutely outrageous to get a main event when there's other middleweights that have been working in the division for a very long time and didn't just knock out Dustin Stolfitz. I got Stolfitz farm a block from me. I know he lives in Germany now, but his family, his farm is like 2, 3, 4 blocks away from me. And these are country blocks, guys. That's 15 miles as far as I'm concerned. I'm going with Sean Strickland, and this is the person that I wanted in the dream blunt rotation that Luke, you alluded to a dream blunt rotation earlier. I was hoping we triple P certified Sean Strickland, so we can just listen to.
We gotta eject Melissa Gatto out of the blunt rotation because we got Garam, Fakhretdinov, Bonfim, Morales, Strickland. That's 5 solid.
Sean Strickland will do a good enough job of ejecting her from the blunt rotation before it even sees fruition. He'll be like, we're bringing her along. Like he talks like Stipe Miocic, but not as and it's weird to say that Stipe Miocic can talk more like punditly about subjects and be a genius in some aspects when Sean Strickland and Stipe have the same voice, but Sean Strickland sounds so much dumber. But I would love. We always have a crazy guy in the rotation. We always need a crazy guy to turn us on to new things. Usually it's Lukey, but now we got Sean Strickland.
Well, we got to get Gatto out of there because she does not deserve to be triply certified. Maybe by next week I will untriply certify her and just go with Ariane Lipski, but it was my idea to pick her in the first place. So, all right, cool. So let's go through the picks real quick. Again, triply certified picks: Sean Strickland, Melissa Gatto, Michael Morales, Ishmael Bonfim, Hinat Fakhretdinov, and Garam Kutaeladze. If you're going with me, bottom to top. Starting off the night, we're going with Rosa. Then we're going with Garam Kutaeladze. Then we're going with Alexander Romanov. Then we're going with Hinat Fakhretdinov. Ivanov Petrovic, most confident pick of the night. Ishmael Bonfim. Bruno Ferreira. Michael Morales. Melissa Gatto, most unconfident pick of the night. Grant Dawson, Sean Strickland.
All right, I got Sean Strickland, Damir Ismagulov, Melissa Gatto, Michael Morales, Bruno Ferreira, Ismail Bonfim, Luana Carolina, Renat Fakhretdinov, Alexander Romanov, Guram Kutaeladze, and Foxyana Santos.
From the top, we got Sean Strickland, Damir Ismagulov, Melissa Gatto, Michael Morales, Abdul Razak Alhassan, Ismail Bonfim, Ivana, the Russian Ronda, Petrovic, Renat Fakhretdinov, Blagoy Ivanov, Guram Kutaeladze, and Carol Rosa.
Okay, perfect. So thank you all for watching. If you want more from us, then you can go to the Patreon and get an extra episode. Please sign up for the full year. You get a discount if you sign up for the full year. DM me if there's anything you want to see, hear, feel, touch, or do with us. And honestly, just get in there, check out the open bet sheets, see how we're betting this weekend, see how we're betting next weekend. You want the full card breakdown top to bottom for Emmett versus Taporia? That episode's free for you right here on the YouTube channel. But if you want to hear us go over it again, we're about to do so right now with a fine-tooth comb. Touch on some other subjects, get a little weird, get a little wet, get a little wild in the Patreon, making sure we're having fun, keeping it tight and loose at the same time. Everything's fun, everything's cool, hanging loose while keeping our lips tight. And our lips are sealed like Mary-Kate and Ashley. So we're going to move forward into the Patreon episode, and we're just going to, keep it professional 100%. Guys, I don't know what else to say. I don't know how to end this show, but leave a comment. Let me know what it is you want.
Just end the fucking show. How about
What the hell do you want? What do you want?
What do you want from me?
I don't know how to end the show.
What do you want? Just tell me what you want.
So let me talk for 5
Guys,
more minutes.
Just know that every time you leave a comment, I'm at work or I'm at my house and I get a little notification on my phone that someone has commented, and whether it's positive or negative, they all make my day. They all make me happy. So leave a comment on the YouTube channel. And if everybody
Shut the fuck up. Let's end the show. Jesus.